I brought 2 cups of water to a boil and add in 1 cup of wheat bulgur to it. Turn off the heat, cover it up, and let it sit for 15 minutes. I'm going to be blending these dates up in a blender, but before I do that, I like to soften them up a bit, so I put them in a bowl with some water and microwave for a few minutes, and I let that set for like another 5. I'll also defrost the berries as well. Now it's time to blend up the berries, the dates, and a banana with a cup of soy milk. It's been about 15 minutes and our bulgur's looking nice and fluffy, so now it's time to add the smoothie in. And I recommend getting a spatula to get the smoothie off the sides of the blender because a lot of it sticks inside of there. Here's all the dry ingredients. We got ground flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, raisins, and cinnamon. Now I'll put the stovetop back on to a low heat, and I'll stir it occasionally while it heats up for about another 10 minutes. It's as easy as that. I poured it into a bowl, garnished with some raspberries, and made some coffee to go along with it. If you're like me and you've gotten tired of the standard oatmeal porridge, I definitely recommend trying bulgur out. It's got a nice chewiness to it and it makes for a good switch up. Here's the supplements I take after my first meal: vitamins B12 and D3, as well as iodine in the form of kelp. The B12 and D3 are essential, D3 especially in the winter months where I'm not getting as much sunlight, but the iodine is more precautionary. Welcome to the first ever episode of my Vegan Day of Eating series, where I'll be showing you what I eat, as well as having a little fun along the way. I've been wanting to make these videos for a while now because they were very instrumental in me going vegan, so hopefully some others out there can watch them and also find them helpful. As a vegan, I obviously follow a 100% plant-based diet, but I try to stick with mostly whole plant foods, and I make most of my food from scratch. I also eat 4,000 plus calories a day, which is quite a lot, but I'm trying to put some mass on. I weight train, and you gotta eat big to get big, so that's what I'm doing.
People come and say, "Hey, Rich, how can I get bigger? How can I get bigger?" Let me think about this for a minute. How about fucking eat more?
This meal has really been one of my favorites lately. First, I'm gonna start off with boiling a box of chickpea pasta. While the pasta boils in a separate pot, I'm also going to be steam cooking a bunch of kale, mixed vegetables, and a diced onion in 2 cups of water. Once most of the water has evaporated and the onions start to look translucent, it's time to add the spices. I've got some paprika, garlic powder, dried parsley, and black pepper. I'll let them cook for another couple minutes. Here I am adding my can of diced tomatoes that I blended up first, as well as 14 cups of water. If you want to replicate this recipe, make sure you got a large pot. The one I'm using is 2.5 gallons in size. I'm also going to add in 1 tablespoon of this Than Boullion vegetable stock. I try to use it sparingly because it's quite high in sodium. Now I'm going to heat the broth back up and let it stay at a light boil for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now all that's left to do is to add our kidney beans, chickpea pasta, and turn the heat off. I also made these kidney beans from scratch, using 3 cups of dry beans, which roughly equates to 4 cans worth. I served this up with some crackers, and I really think soup is underrated. It's a great way to get a bunch of vegetables in, it's tasty, and it really warms you up in the colder months. It's one of my favorites for sure. I also drink one of these to go along with it. I probably have 1 or 2 of these a day. I got a slight caffeine addiction. It is what it is. A little heads up, these Mission tortillas are vegan, but not all their products are, so always double check the ingredients. I cut the potatoes into small cubes, and it's time to air fry them. I have my frozen spinach steam cooking in 1 cup of water, and once most of that evaporates, I'll stir in 1 tablespoon of chili powder. All there's left to do is to add the black beans, the refried beans, and the potato cubes to the pot, and mix it all up. I also recommend heating the mixture up on low for about 5 minutes. This will make 8 burritos, and I also double wrap them. There's 2 reasons for this. 1, it's extra calories, and 2, every time I try wrapping with 1 shell, it always ends up busting out the sides, so from now on, I use 2 shells. Damn, look at those burrito folding skills. Working at Chipotle 10 years ago for 3 days really taught me something. These also store very nicely, which makes them good for work, or just travel in general. I like them with a little hot sauce, but I recommend spicing them up. Add some avocado, roasted bell pepper, salsa. They're very versatile. I wish I could say I always had the strength to do what I knew was right, but unfortunately that hasn't always been the case. I agreed early on that we should respect animals, that it was wrong to kill and eat them, but I continued to do it for quite some time. I eventually began getting these strange bouts of shame that I wasn't really sure where they were coming from at first, until it dawned on me that they would come about whenever I would catch glimpses of my own hypocrisy. So one night I had enough and decided to watch the documentary Earthlings, and it forever changed my life. It's a morbid look into what happens to animals when we farm them. I threw away all the food I had that contained animal products and swore to never touch them ever again. After several years, I stopped making excuses and I finally started being the person I wanted to be. It was real, it was powerful, and it fucking meant something. That moment was and is everything. Looking back, I now realize that was the first time I held myself accountable to a degree where I actually had to change something substantive about myself. If not for that moment, I would have spent the last 8 years like I had prior, still purchasing huge bags of chopped up animal flesh every week, thinking only about myself and the muscles they would give me. Yeah, me and only me. I learned that doing the right thing isn't always the easiest path to take, and you might have to change a part of yourself you've always known. But you know what? That's a good thing. Some parts of ourselves are worth giving up. I ask you to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Are you living your life according to the values you hold? If not, I really hope you have the strength to make a change. I'm sure the world will be a much better place if you do. And to be clear, I say all this to you watching as much as I do to myself. I haven't been the best activist I can be for animals lately, and I know I can do better. And I'm going to do better. This recipe calls for 3 cups of quick oats, of which I blended half of them into a flour. Then I add baking powder, pumpkin pie spice, and cinnamon. Here's what's inside the pumpkin pie spice in case you're curious. Now it's time for raisins, the last dry ingredient. Now I'm going to soften these dates in the microwave with some water, like I did earlier today. I'm going to thoroughly blend the dates, half a cup of roasted sunflower seeds, and 1 cup of soy milk together. It should look something like this, and let me tell you, it smells really good. Time to mix the wet with the dry. Now's a good time to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. I hope you don't mind getting a little sticky. I portioned the mix out into 12 cookies. It's time to pop these suckers in the oven for 20 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. Like the bean burritos, these are super portable and they taste very good. You can't go wrong with them. I also had them with a couple pears and a cup of coffee. I greatly appreciate anyone who stuck it out until the end with me. Here's the total macros for the day. I greatly surpassed my calorie and protein requirements, which is typical. As long as you eat a good variety of plant foods, as well as getting in enough calories, you're going to be doing pretty well off. Remember to always be kind to animals, and until next time, peace out.